welcome to the District Delegate Assembly meeting this afternoon. Let's begin by having the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag We'll begin our meeting with a couple of housekeeping chores, if you don't mind. The delegates, you just received a copy of the age verification. The list enumerates all those that have not signed up in your district. You're also going to find a number of them that have passed away or they don't live there anymore. Please cross through that name and make a copy or let Jason know so that the administration can correct their records. Okay? You have a Is it green?
She has something to say.
Go ahead.
I'm looking on my list, and one of the first people on the list is Nita Cook, and that's me. My husband filled it out. So
You need one. Every person in the house needs one.
I thought it was one person in the household.
No, ma'am. No. Each resident, and that is for our Channel 97 viewers, each resident in every district needs to file the form and file it with the state of California. We have to submit every resident, not just a homeowner.
Well, we got the first one in the magazine, and they only gave one copy in the magazine.
Okay.
So, and they didn't say, it said per household.
You can pick up a form at the administration office or at the desk in the main clubhouse. Okay. They have the age verification form there. Okay.
Other thing, I think there's still some confusion on to who is mandating this. I think some people think it's admin wants the information, but it needs to be stressed that it's the state of California.
Yeah. First of all, the age verification is a California state law where we have to file as an HOA every 2 years with the residents that are inhabited in our location. Each resident, that's not just one per home, each resident must fill out the form. So please, fill out the form or get a form from the reception desk in the main clubhouse. You can get it with the administration, although it's easier to come to the clubhouse. If you really need a form and you can't find one and all the rest of it, go to your delegate. Your delegate knows everything. Okay? All right. So that's one item that's out of. Secondly, the board of directors appointed a short time ago an ambassador to the city of Banning. And I think it was a stroke of genius, having someone represent us at the various meetings where we should have a voice or at least an ear to know what's going on. And that ambassador is Beverly Rashid, and we would like a few words from Beverly, please. Over here, Bev.
Hi, or good afternoon. Actually, I guess I should start by saying there are no maps for what I'm trying to do, and there's no agenda. What we're hoping to do is to have Sun Lakes more visible, and those that are active in the city more visible to the city, and more visible to the residents. We're also trying to create a bridge so that those Sun Lakers who don't know that we are a part of Banning can have a clearer understanding that we are, and have some responsibility for the well-being and for improving the quality of life for the city, for all the residents. I would like to ask the delegate assembly and the delegates if you would be willing and amenable to me coming to you periodically with materials that I'd like for you to distribute to your districts so that we can get people into Sun Lakes and get people out of Sun Lakes and get everybody working together. Thank you. If you have any questions. Thank you. Oh.
You have some questions, Beverly. Go ahead, Peggy. Is that turned on? No.
I can
please
hear you.
Pass her a microphone, please.
Okay, mine's on, thank you. I'm new.
Sure.
I've taken over for Tanya. I'm confused. I don't understand exactly what you want. Do you want us to get some kind of form or something from everybody?
No, I'm asking with your newsletters, if you could periodically, if I have something, I have no idea what it may be at this point, but if we're having something, an event or a meeting or something that I would like the residents to participate in or be aware of, or something just to support, I'd like to be able to ask you to distribute it to your
So
district.
you'd like us to clip it to our
Yes.
newsletter? Okay.
I'd also like one other thing. If you see people in your district that would like to be involved in this process actively, I'd like to get their names too. I'd like to hear from them and be in touch with them, because this is not a one-person operation. The warehouse has made it clear that we need to build some bridges and get rid of some of the divisions between us and the rest of Banning. So if you have people that would be interested in working on that, I'd love to have them. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Beverly, thank you.
There's one here.
One from our member.
RASHIDD, that's 2 D's as in David, and I'm in the phone book, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. And you have, obviously, the support of the delegates and certainly the support of the aggregate, the assembly, if we can help in any way. Okay. The next item we have, or the next person, is Kevin Walton. And Kevin is our representative, if you want, from District 3 at the San Gorgonio Pass Water District. Kev?
I always hate doing this. It sounds like I'm playing the drums. Hi, my name's Kevin Walton. I'm a resident of Sun Lakes. I'm also the appointed director for Division 3, which takes Sun Lakes and also Four Seasons. I think it's fortuitous that you have somebody who is in the Homeowners Association here to represent you on matters of the state when it comes to water. However, I am a resident, and what's fortunate about the position that I hold, I can have some influence in other government affairs. I can, be an advocate for Sun Lakes and also Four Seasons and hold a little weight. So there's some real value in that. Now here's the pitch. I'm up for election. I hope to get your vote in November. I'm here just to be available to you for any questions you might have. I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on with water. You had the city of Banning here and did a presentation. My agency represents the wholesalers, so how the water gets from Northern California down here through the aqueduct. That's our primary mission. However, we're very much interested in the issues that are at hand in California, especially the drought. And so we're going to be playing here very soon, much more active role, kind of stepping out of our traditional role of just being a wholesaler, but actually becoming more involved on a more of a community level. So you'll be seeing and hearing from us a little bit more in the future. I'm going to be here during the meeting. If you have any questions regarding water, I'll be more than happy to take the time to go do that. If there's something very pressing right now, see if I can answer the question. So with that, again, Kevin Walton.
I have a question. At our community awareness meeting a couple of months ago, one of the water district people spoke for the city of Banning, and they said we did not have a shortage in Banning, that our wells were out 2 to 3 years. What gives on that?
Okay, Northern California gets a lot of their water distribution from surface water. In Southern California, most of the stuff here is pumped out of aquifers, so groundwater. So I believe what the official was telling you is that the groundwater reservoirs or aquifers are actually in pretty good shape, and we would concur with that. I'm not a technocrat, but our folks that are pretty feeling pretty certain that we're in much better shape than, say, like the city of Los Angeles or some of the other areas served by the Metropolitan Water District that are really having some crisis. The last word I had heard, it's about 6 million people under the Metropolitan Water District that are really in a jam. They don't have access to groundwater. So it's kind of like sticking a straw in your margarita and you're sipping it, you know. The basin is full or has a great deal of capacity for us taking water out. Hope that helps.
That doesn't make any difference if the state of California or Governor Newsom puts down an edict where we can only water, say, 2 days a week and on and on. Is that true?
The state of California, the governor's office did put out a mandate, and it came through the state water board, and it was a very broad brush. It affected everyone. So there wasn't any saying, well, if you're an agency that's managing your resources very well, that you don't have to comply or not. So it's a very broad brush. Unfortunately, we are all tainted by that decision. So, and then like you said, with the Metropolitan Water District, they've come out with a very calamitous story as well, and so a lot of the other governments get that splash effect, and that's what we're seeing here. We've really managed with all the different agencies here, the little water districts, City of Banning, Beaumont Cherry Valley Water District, and the other ones. Everybody's doing a pretty good job of managing those aquifers, but we get no street credit for that. We don't get any benefit, from the state. We don't get any reprieve.
Okay.
Anything
Go ahead.
being done by the state to alleviate these problems for the cities that are really hurting right now?
Kevin,
Such as,
would you repeat the question? I don't think we heard that.
Anything being done to alleviate the problems some of these cities are having, like Los Angeles? Are they considering desalinization plants or anything?
Well, that's a really great question. If you're following the news here, the Coastal Commission here just recently decided against the Huntington Beach desalination, which just seems to fly, just opposite of what we should be doing right now. Of course, their mandate is to do whatever it is, but you would think that everybody would be oaring in the same direction. In terms of the water crisis across the state, Central Valley, there is an incredible problem there with subsidence. The ground is actually sinking. There are, like I said, there's 6 million folks within the service area of the Metropolitan Water District that are really in crisis mode. So the short answer is there's not really a good answer. We get our water from the snowpack in the Sierras. Much like the Colorado River gets snowpack and it comes down the Colorado River, ours comes down through the aqueduct from Oroville. Absent snow, things get, this drought condition, it's pretty tough. We can't really manufacture molecules at this point. So conservation is going to be key. What we do, we've got to be a little bit smarter. even if our groundwater basins are good, it really is incumbent on all of us because, you know, we want to make sure that water stretches as far as it can. There is a limited supply in the aquifer. But as far as the state and feds go, you know, all you have to do is go on YouTube and watch the level of the Hoover Dam, Lake Mead, and you can see the calamitous conditions it's in. You may have heard there's some talk about you know, diverting the Mississippi River, you know, with all these floods that they're having. It's building some support of actually running, I think it's 1,600 miles of aqueduct that would be required in pump stations. So that's kind of out there. That's, you know, not going to happen real quick. And so the short answer is not much. Yes, ma'am?
Raylene Kretschmann, District 7. There's been a lot of talk about people seeing waterfalls and fountains and stuff down in Palm Springs on, and why are ours off? And it was my understanding that if they weren't connected directly to a water source and it's recycled water, that's allowed?
You know, the question earlier was on this, that I might be asked a question, and I'm not disappointed. I did look on the state water site. Let me back up and say that we've got to make a distinction between the mandates that the state's imposing on the cities. So the cities have an emergency plan, or the water agency has a plan, and they're told that they have to go into a certain level of that. So their governance has made that plan, and that could be in and above what the state mandate is. But just before I got up here, I looked on the state site, and the difference in the languages says that for evaporative purposes, you can fill back up a fountain, but you can't just have one that just keeps on, you know, shooting in the air and you're going to be using up water. That's what the state language says. Now, the Banning, who I believe did a presentation to you here, you know, they also have dictates. They have set into motion their emergency plan or their water conservation plan. And I would suspect if that's what they're saying, it's an element within their contingency plan that may be a little bit above that. That might be a great question to ask the city in terms of the distinction between what the state says and their interpretation. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate your help. And thank you for coming to our meeting today.
I know this is a critical issue, and so I'm going to make it probably more available to answer that. Like I said, you know, I can be an advocate, even though our agency doesn't directly serve water to Sun Lakes, but we can be an advocate to you. I am your voice, elected voice for the San Gorgonio Pass Water Agency, but I can also be an effective voice, you know, representing you at other government things. So I'll be more than happy to hear from you. I hate to give you my phone number, but if I'll give that to staff here and make that available. I think we'll also put something in one of the newsletters that goes out so that everybody can actually have that as well. I think that might be wise. But if you need me right now, I'm going to be in the back of the room at the end, and we can talk water until we, whatever.
Good. Thank you, Kevin. The next item on our agenda, if he can shake loose, is Thomas with our food and beverage operation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all. It's always nice to be here and see everyone together and give you an update on the restaurant and the food and beverage department here at Sun Lakes. First off, I'd like to start about the department and events, past events. July was a busy month with, you know, 4th of July, the 4th of July golf cart parade, an event that was here in the clubhouse. We are doing the last Saturday of each month, the Music Under the Stars out on the veranda. There's music every Saturday, but that one is where everyone comes up where they can come up with their carts and hang out on the lawn and enjoy the wonderful music and festivities. Those have been proven to be very successful with many people in attendance. Our happy hour is going very, very well. We have the happy hour every Wednesday from 3 to 7, and it's even better when there's live music, which is the first and third Wednesday of each month. So we do have live music on those days, and it's proven to be very, very successful and well attended. Our department launched a new summer seasonal menu on July the 8th. There are new menus for the restaurant, sandwich, bar lounge, and also pool service. We wanted to do pool service sooner, but again, it's been more about staffing, and again, we're still in the same boat. We are well-staffed in the front of the house, but we are unfortunately not very well-staffed in the back of the house, which we have to be careful. We want to take on so much more, but yet we have to be mindful of the staff and not overload them. Our goal is to open this facility all the way. I want nothing more to open the sandwich on Mondays and to open the restaurant on Tuesdays evenings. We do have, of course, bingo going, and we have the sandwich open, but it's really important, and the bar and lounge on Tuesdays, but it's important that we get the restaurant open as well. It will come. We are working together to get this taken care of. We did lose one of our cooks that had been with us over 20 years. He retired, and he was our morning lead. So unfortunately, we have not found a replacement for him yet. With that said, we were blessed in the month of July to hire a new front of the house manager. He is my assistant, my right arm. His name is Joseph Johnson. I would like to introduce him. He is here with me today. So Joseph, come on up. Let's give him a round of applause. Joseph brings a wealth of knowledge to the food and beverage department. He is a seasoned manager and understands the country club, understands the residents, understands how things work. And so it's just nice to have support and to have someone that is there for me when I can't be at a certain place. So with that said, I'll let Joseph say a few words.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Nice to meet you. Again, like you said, my name is Joseph Johnson. I've been in the food and beverage industry for, gosh, almost 30 years now, 30 plus years. I've been in food and beverage management as far as Minnesota, through Wisconsin, into Arizona, and back now into California. Had retired a few years ago. I do a little voiceover stuff, a little acting. Then these guys gave me a call. And I said, you know what? Yeah, probably time to get back into it again. I miss it. I miss the camaraderie. I miss food and beverage. I miss being around all of the people. Sitting in a booth for 3 years, didn't help the waistline. So I got to get back to it again. So anyhow, just wanted to say a few words. I think with myself, with Thomas, with our executive chef, between the three of us, that's almost, 90 years of food and beverage management. So I think you guys will be in good hands with us this year. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. I look to working with you and to continue to just doing great things here at Sun Lakes. With that said, we did have our Sunday brunch, which is the last Sunday of each month. We did have it this last Sunday as well, and we served nearly 250 covers. So we had a nice, successful brunch and very well attended. Upcoming events, Chef's Table. That is being planned for September. I believe the date is the 18th. All the information will get out, and there will be a chef's table, but it will be limited, and it will be I believe, a lottery style, because we are unfortunately there will be so many people that want to attend the chef's table event, we have to limit it. But that will be coming up. Also, neat things that we're doing, we are going to be opening on Tuesday evenings, starting September 13th. and that we will be doing a Taco Tuesday in the restaurant. So we will be doing a buffet, and we will have a couple of options. We're excited to do it. We're able to man this and at least get the restaurant open. Again, that will be the only option. It will be tacos, beans, and rice, or it will be build your own tostada salad. So you'll have an option. It will be a buffet. There will be pre-sold tickets for this. It will be a pre-sale event where you'll be able to purchase your tickets ahead of time. This way it allows us to plan for the food and know how much we're going to make and how many people will be attending those Tuesday events in the restaurant. We will also be changing Thursdays a little bit and be doing a Pasta Thursday buffet. So we will be doing, since the chef is Italian and he specializes in pasta, we're going to be doing pasta buffet in the restaurant. Change things up a little bit, same way. You'll have a beautiful choice of different pastas and salad and garlic bread. And we really just want everybody to get together and find it a place for everyone to kind of enjoy and change it up a little bit. Have this option of coming in and doing something different other than just ordering from the menu all the time. So we're going to be trying that out. That will start September 15th. So of course 2 days after the Taco Tuesday. That is the plan. Again, those will be pre-sale tickets. You'll see it all advertised. You'll be able to purchase your tickets ahead of time and go from there. You'll be able to purchase drinks, separately, but your food will already be paid for, and it will be inclusive. So it will include the tax and service charge once you purchase your tickets. Also moving in October 15th, we are planned our Oktoberfest Gala. That will be out on the veranda. It will feature German food and live music. So we are working on that right now, but we have the date ready to go. And then, believe it or not, the long-awaited Greek night is coming back. So Thomas will be here officially 1 year, about the week before. So we plan for Saturday, November the 5th. So that will be our celebration, bringing back Greek night, Greek music, Greek food, and lots of festivities here in the ballroom. Please look for that. There will be pre-sale tickets. They will sell out. We will sell up to probably 300 tickets for that event. Again, our goal here is we've had a few setbacks. I have a wonderful front of the house staff, and I have a wonderful back of the house staff. I just don't have a lot of them. And it's really difficult right now. Believe it or not, we just are not getting candidates for the kitchen. And it's not the pay, it's not anything else. They're very generous. We just can't find the right people. And that wouldn't work. But we're doing our best, and so if you find us strapped or you find things are delayed, there's reasons behind everything. Please understand. If you don't see me, you think I'm most of the time in the kitchen, so I am here. But I have spent a lot of time in the kitchen in the last month trying to help them expedite food and make sure that things are the way they're supposed to be. And yes, we have fallen short, but we're doing our best to make sure that we provide nice food and spirits and just a place for everyone to get together and enjoy a nice meal. So with that said, I want to thank you for your support. I always thank the delegates. I always enjoy seeing you. We had a nice dinner last month, and it was nice to have everybody together and catch up. I appreciate everyone's support. If you need anything, you're always welcome to email me or call me, or please make yourself free to talk to Joseph as well. He will be roaming around, and we're just looking forward to several great months ahead. I mean, before you know it, it's going to be Christmas. We're already planning events for that as well. And the banquet department is very busy, I must add. I have lots of events coming up, and they're just getting heavier and heavier as we get into the holidays. So we're very grateful for that as well. So with that, any questions? Yes?
Can we look forward to being able to call in our lunch, drive in, pick it up, and then go home?
Would you please repeat the question, Thomas?
I'm sorry. So let me, here, why don't you go ahead?
Are we looking forward to being able to call in for lunch and then go in and drive in and pick it up with your outfit? And is that on the agenda?
Thank you. Yes, that's on the agenda. Again, if you call an order in and you find that you come there and it's not ready yet, and I'm sure you've discovered that, sometimes it's not the kitchen. It's a little bit of a training component, and it's just working with our hostesses, and it's all about timing, and it's very important, and this is all training, and we'll do our very best to work with them so you don't have to wait, or at least get a phone call and say it's going to be an extra 10 minutes. But yes, there are challenges, and I'm sorry if you've had that happen to you, but our goal is to make sure that the food is ready when you arrive. Oh, yes. We do orders to go, sir. We're not bringing it to your car. I would for you.
Right, Thomas.
You want curbside.
He's talking about bringing curbside back. That is something that I know the board would like to get back, but really we have to start, Roger, the biggest thing is starting like with the back of the house staff. As soon as we get that and we can get up running fully, get the restaurant and the sandwich
Right.
back open, then we'll start looking at that. But we want to get that entity taken care of first.
I'll do it myself for you. I have no issue with that. So I just need to work on that and figure it out. Okay? All right, perfect.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you for giving us the information.
Thank you very much.
Something I forgot before we have the next speaker is the approval of the June 2nd, 2022 District Delegate Assembly meeting minutes. May I have a motion, please? I have a motion and a second. Okay, are there any corrections, any changes? If not, all those that approve, say aye. Aye. All right, got that over with. I'm sorry for the oversight. And now we have the Recreation Department. Cara will give us a rundown of what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here today. It's great. I missed you in July. So I have a little bit of housekeeping from July. I want to thank everybody who came out for the 4th of July parade. We had over 50 carts and 25 classic cars. It was absolutely amazing to see everybody and all their spirit. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful day. We had lots of people who were winners, which is posted in the Lifestyles magazine. So if you're curious as to who the winners were of the awards, it's in the magazine. I do want to thank Lori and Bob and Patricia for being our judges. That was an unenviable position to be in that day. There was some definite close calls, so thank you very much. Moving forward, our next big event is going to be on the 16th. We're going to have Premier World Travel. They're going to be here and talk about their upcoming trips for 2022 and 2023. They've got some really fun things going on, some trips to the South for Christmas, over to Europe if you're so inclined. So please stop in and speak with Pam. She's got some great things going on. Our next ice cream social is going to be on September 12th. We did have one on the 1st of this month that was well attended, but our next one is on the 12th. So if you missed that one on Monday, please see us on the 12th. Thomas had talked about additional music on the veranda. So last night was Renee. That was the first Wednesday of the month. Our next night that we'll have music will be on Wednesday the 17th, and that will be Delaney and James. And so they will be here from 4 to 7 entertaining us that night. So come on out. It should be another great night. We are going to have another COVID clinic here in the ballroom on Wednesday, September 17th. So the same day, come get your COVID shot and then go have a little drink and make yourself feel better. But they'll be in here from 10 a.m. until 6. You do not have to have an appointment. Just bring your vaccine card with you and they'll get you either a Pfizer or Moderna in whatever stage of your vaccine series that you're in. Music Under the Stars is going to be on August 27th, and that is again going to be Delaney and James. So they're going to play for us 2 times this month. So please come out and enjoy the great festivities. Upcoming, some things I want you to save the date for. We've gotten some calls about when are the garage sales going to be. So the garage sales are going to be the first 3 weekends in October. It's published in this month's Lifestyles magazine as to what districts are on what dates. We are also going to have shredding in October, a blood drive. In September, we're going to have an activities day. So there's a sign-up sheet at the lobby. If your group or club or committee is looking for new members, please sign up for Activities Day. It is going to be on Saturday, September 24th from 1 to 4 here in the ballroom. I've got a long list of other things to go. I could go on and on and on. But stop in the office, see myself, see the front desk receptionist. Hopefully you all got to meet Felicia. She is our new part-time receptionist at the front desk. Say hello, introduce yourself. She's a great gal. We're lucky to have her. But again, Lifestyles, Channel 97, Facebook, Good Day Sun Lakes, the Recreation Office, the website. It's all kinds of information for you guys. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Anything else? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Cara. I appreciate your help. Next on our agenda is the Planning and Compliance Department. We have Itanalisa, who is the manager of the department, and we have had a special request to her to give us some information as far as neighbor-to-neighbor information is concerned. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the District Delegate Assembly. Good afternoon, members of the audience, and good afternoon to you folks watching on Channel 97. I will do my best not to stick my foot in my mouth too much, but I brought salt with me in case I do. So, the matter of concern, what to do if you want nothing to do with your next door neighbor? Well, neighbor-to-neighbor disputes have a way of spilling out into street disputes, block disputes, and I do get a lot of phone calls from folks who have had it up to the roof with their neighbor and what their neighbor is up to do. The first place to look at is actually in your general statement. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read a little quote. Section 4.09 of the General Statement of Rules and Regulations directly addresses the matter of neighbor-to-neighbor disputes. The association encourages neighbors to make a reasonable and good faith effort to solve problems peacefully amongst themselves. And that's all I'm going to read directly of it because it's a lot to follow. The long and short of it is, if you have a problem with your neighbor and you have tried to resolve it personally, you do have the option of coming to the Planning Compliance Department, of coming to the administration office, and discussing the concern with me and my staff. If you want to take a formal step, you will either email or bring a written letter. We do need it in writing of some sort. What the concern is, what you've done to try and resolve the problem, and what help, what assistance, what are you looking for as a resolution? My department's step will be to investigate the matter. If this concern is a violation of the governing documents, it's not your problem anymore, it's mine. We will take it up with that neighbor on behalf of the association and follow the violation process as laid out in the governing documents. However, if it is an item that the department cannot step into, we will let you know. At that point, your options are to request a meeting, a formal meeting. We can put you at one end of the table, put that neighbor at the other end of the table, and attempt to resolve things peaceably. However, that is the extent of what the governing documents provides. If that person will not come to the table, and it is not a violation of the governing documents, I cannot force them to sit with you. If the concern is not a violation of the governing documents, but you still feel slighted by this event, unfortunately, you will have to seek a mediator or an arbiter, and that may come out of your own pocket. The association cannot always step into that role as arbiter or mediator for a neighbor-to-neighbor dispute. Some items I get it. They just get on that last everlasting nerve, and you are so done. And you may feel that this dispute, this item that's going on with your neighbor is just ruining all enjoyment of your property. But I'm limited, my department is limited by what the governing documents allows us to step into. So that's the long and short of neighbor-to-neighbor disputes. Any questions, please?
Anybody have any questions for the department? Anything? No? Thank you very much, Lisa. I think you did a fine job. I think we have a little better understanding as to what our position is in a neighborhood, and that's important. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
If I may make one last thing. I get a lot of complaints. I do. And some of them are actually understandable. But if you want my department to act on them, they cannot be anonymous. They have to be signed. And this is actually a requirement of the governing documents, that either it's submitted by a resident, it's submitted by staff, it's submitted by Securitas in the form of an incident report. But anonymous notes often cannot go far, because if I don't have the ability to go in front of the board of directors and say, this thing is happening and it is affecting this resident here, I might not be able to go further with it. So I understand there's things happening, things that you folks are seeing that I am not, and it's on your nerves. Please report it. Please report it. All I need is just your name and a contact phone number, and I can go with that. But an anonymous complaint, there might not be much I can roll with if I can't find other supporting information in other ways. So I know that right now things are very, very strained. Some folks are really, really reaching their limit about the limitations of what the department can do. I understand that. But leaving anonymous notes doesn't help me. So that is my last and final thing, and I yield the floor to the district delegate.
I have a question.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There is a relationship between neighbors, and these are always up front and foremost. To keep from losing that relationship with the neighbor, but you know, some neighbors are not always concerned about certain things. Don't we have some kind of a code where your neighbor has to abide by, that his neighbor doesn't have to enforce? Because if they do enforce some kind of a compliance, then he's losing a relationship with his neighbor. Guess I'm talking about people not keeping their yards up. I mean, we have a community here where it's very nice, and you have, once in a while, you'll have somebody that doesn't really care too much about keeping their yard up. And if his neighbor goes to, confronts him about this, he's losing that friendship or that fiduciary relationship. And I feel that there should be some other way for this to be this to be taken care of, other than the neighbors losing a relationship.
So
Now,
I'm going to speak in hypotheticals, because that's my favorite language.
hypothetically.
Hypotheticals. So in instances where there's a relationship, a communication, there are words that are not expletives being shared between these neighbors, and one neighbor is just letting things go. The other neighbor can come to me if they feel that speaking to this person is more likely to end in a degradation of a relationship, if it's going to cause more problems than it has the potential to solve, yes, come to my department. Let us be the bad guys.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it. Let's go. Next item on our agenda is the Charitable Trust of Sun Lakes, and we have the chairman, David Keeley.
Thank you very much, delegates and staff and residents and you that are watching on Channel 97. I'd like to bring a little cheer following a really important topic, so thank you, Tansla, for your presentation. For the benefit of the new delegates, companies, organizations have mission statements, and we have a brief one for the Sun Lakes Country Club Charitable Trust. Let me share it with you. We are organized and operated by volunteers exclusively for charitable 501c3 purposes to help meet needs in our community and the greater San Gorgonio Pass area. And the way that we are able to help meet needs in the greater San Gorgonio Pass area is to, according to our charter as a 501c3 charity, is to provide help to organize charities. So if someone comes to us and they want money from the charity, they need to be organized as a charitable organization. That's according to our incorporation and our approval as a charity with the federal government. We have, for 3 times out of the last 4 years, there's been an afternoon tea that has been very successful as a fundraiser. You probably know mostly about Charity Week, and that's been going on for many, many, many years here, decades at Sun Lakes. But this year there was another event that was golf related, and it was watching the Masters Golf Tournament here in the ballroom, and that was another fundraising event. There's people in the room smiling who paid their $150 to win a golf cart and to watch that event on a 9 by 16 foot screen here in the ballroom, and you could stand in the back of the ballroom and read everything on the screen. It was really a fun event. So thank you for attending, and someone did win that golf cart, lithium battery golf cart, and they're pretty happy. People see it out on the course all the time. The grant application process, you might want to know how does a charity approach us? For the first time this year, there's an application, and we have required the charities that we support for the first time to make application, and that's done with the cooperation of one of the charities we support, which is the Friends of the Banning Library. So on the Banning Library site, there's an opportunity, there's a form that there's instructions, and people can fill it out, and they can make their request that goes to a grant distribution committee within our charity, and it's evaluated, and then the decisions are made by the entire board. Now, when does this take place, the grant distribution? The process has not been as smooth as we would like this year in having the charities make that request. Many times I have seen over my 11 years with the charity is we have charities that we support, and occasionally there'll be someone else that makes a request, and so we just evaluate it and make a distribution based upon their general requests. So now it's more specific, and we did make that request that they must fill out an application, and we want to do that each year. We're following the precedent that exists by another local funding organization, the Laura May Stewart Testamentary Trust, the foundation. This actually was the Stewart Ranch. There are 350 acres or so here at Sun Lakes, and this was the Stewart Ranch, and there was a charity set up, and they make a distribution, and they have this annual requirement for people to make a request. So that's what we've done. And there have been some snags, and so their deadline that was given to them in January, February, when we kicked this off, that their deadline was July, and we've extended that. We pushed it back, And so the distribution is going to be, because we're still working with them to get this whole process smooth and working, so the distribution has been pushed back until November this year. So Master Board has on their agenda soon approval for us to use the date that we've requested that is clear. It'll be here in the ballroom. And for you who've not attended, and for people listening and watching, we really do this and invite the charities that are going to receive a grant. They have a display, and you can come and find out about them. You can volunteer to help them, and we make the distribution to them. So that's going to be in November. There'll be information available in Lifestyles magazine, and we'll let you know for your newsletters exactly when that's going to be. It'll be the third week or so in November this year. I'm not going to give you a date because it's not approved yet by the board. I don't want to outstep that guideline at all. So I'll be here if you have questions. Thank you very much again for your time. I know you have a lot on your plate, and we just really appreciate being able to update you about something important to thousands of people here who participate in volunteering to put on the activities and then to participate in them. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We have these reports every month to make sure that the delegates have an update on the rather items that happen within our community. If any of you have anything that you would like to put on the agenda, please call me or call Jim, and we'll get it on the agenda for the next meeting, okay? The next item is an EPAP report. If there's anyone here from the EPAP executive team, they're pretty busy. I would like you to know that the EPAP executive team has a reorganization job to do, and that is all-consuming. There is going to be a drill toward the end of the year. I think it's in October, and they're working on that right now. But they also must replenish some of their coordinators in the various districts. So you as a delegate may be operating as a coordinator, but it's up to you to help find a replacement in your district if that is the case, okay? All right, the next one we have, item for discussion, is the dress code. And we have Renelle English. You have some comments.
Yes, I had several people in my district come to me about the dress code. Some talked about the people from the pool coming in with bathing suits on and towels wrapped around them with flip-flops on, and also people bringing their teenage children in with halter tops and short shorts, ripped jeans, and being allowed into the restaurant. Now, I've talked to Thomas about this, and there is a dress code. It's on Sun Lakes Country Club website, and anybody can get it, but I'd like to say that the majority of the dress code deals with wearing, for men, shirts with collars, dress collarless shirts, or mock neck shirts with sleeves, slacks, dress denim, Bermuda length golf shorts. And for women, dresses, skirts, slacks, dress denim, Bermuda length shorts with a golf shirt or blouse. Hats may be worn with the bill facing forward. However, gentlemen are asked to remove hats before entering main dining room. Attire not committed, cutoffs, short shorts, tank tops, halter tops, bathing suits, spandex, or clothing with offensive words, graphic shirts must be tucked in unless designated to be worn outside. Minors are permitted to wear appropriate printed t-shirts. However, anyone under the age of 21 may not sit on the lounge box. So if anyone has any questions, I believe I can answer some of them, but you can talk to Thomas. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from any of the other delegates? No? Okay. Nita, go ahead.
I've noticed that myself when I've been in the dining room and some people have come in. Is it acceptable for the people that are seating the guests when they come in to turn them away if they're dressed like that?
Would you like to answer that, Jason? They, to my knowledge, they can be either turned away or they can be asked to go and change and come back.
That is correct, Joe. That's absolutely correct, and I will bring it up at the staff meeting Friday that we have with the restaurant and lounge team, and that way they are made aware that the hostesses have that power, that they can turn someone away for not having the proper dress code and asking them to go home and change.
I believe the bathing suit and the towel happened in the bar. Yeah, they were coming in ordering drinks.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other questions? No? Okay. Next item on our agenda has to do with the workshop meeting last week or so, I guess. Are there any other questions? I would like to report to everyone that there was a workshop on the part of all the delegates and the alternate delegates. And we were blessed by having, I think, 44 members out of the 46 in attendance. Now, you got to admit, we were under a lucky star that night, whatever it must be. Anyhow, since it was a closed meeting, I think everyone felt rather uninhibited and was able to ask all the questions and had discussions on various items to the satisfaction of everyone that was there. However, were there any questions that you didn't want to ask or that you would like to ask now?
Joe, was there any notes taken at the meeting? I happened to be in Paris having a good time at that time.
Congratulations. No, there were not any notes taken, to be honest with you, because it was a closed meeting and we didn't want the discussions, whether good or bad or indifferent, out in publication. Daniel?
Yes, Joe. Are you going to maybe do this again? Because, you know, Dodger tickets are hard to come by, and when you have them, you have them.
I'm sorry, did you get that?
Another workshop.
Remember that the Assembly, all the delegates and the alternate delegates, do not have any power, so to speak. And certainly we don't have any line item as far as the budget is concerned. So we have requested of the administration, mainly our president of the board of directors, and mentioned that in the past we have had this meeting or the workshop twice a year. And obviously he said that's marvelous. So I'm delighted to report that our president said yes, and we'll probably have one in October or November, and then we'll have one again in the spring and so on. So twice a year will be when we will follow, Daniel.
Thank you.
Okay. I think it's due to note that some things that came out into our discussions, which I think I should bring out in the open, was that in some of the districts, the district delegate was sort of questioned. And I would like everyone to know that the district delegate is an elected official to operate a district, and therefore has full power, full control of that district. And that means all of the personnel that volunteer. That means over the bank account, if there is one in the district. And no one holds a position in that district except the alternate delegate that is also elected. but no one else holds a position in that district unless that position and that person is approved by the delegate. And that's about as clear and as forward as I possibly can be. So therefore, the delegate should know who is on their staff. They should know who the zone captains are. They should have a map of the zones. They should be the one that was receiving the welcome home report twice a month, and so on. You, as delegates, are the chief operating officer of your district. If you are not, it's your fault. Okay? Next item on our agenda is the discussion of the file for life. Now, it was brought to mind a while back that if a rescue team comes in here, someone dials 911, someone is having a problem, and they come in, the first thing the fire department or maybe the EMT team, the first thing they do is go to your refrigerator. They're looking for the file. I can't say it any clearer. And you have the responsibility of urging your people to fill out the medical report in that file. And it's to save your own and the life of everyone in your district. That's how important it is. So I think it is important that we stress over and over again that the file for life on the refrigerator is probably the most important thing that a resident can do for their own good. Okay? Questions?
How do we get those file for life? Because we've been trying to get the yellow cards.
You can get
and
them from the EPAT.
We have asked EPAT, we've asked for the yellow cards.
I'll get them for you.
Okay, and we've asked for files for life, because we
Yes.
don't have the yellow
They
cards
come in
either.
two parts. There's a magnetic envelope that goes on the refrigerator, and there is a form that fits in it that lists the medical needs of the residents in the home. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
You can call Dick Spalding, and he'll bring it to your house. How many you need?
There you go. There's the
You
answer.
can call him, and you can text him, and he'll bring it.
Okay, we'll get them for you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Joe. I'd just like to interject. In my district, I suggested that we put our blood type on those cards, and also we put our vaccination from COVID in the same card as well. So it's helpful if EMT has to come in.
That's a good.
So it's worked out very well. I put it in my
good
newsletter.
addition.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Any more comments? See, something does come out of these comments. Very good. Okay, we're in a position right now where we have the Board of Directors. Mr. President?
Thank you, Joe. Randy and I will give you a report of what we've been doing the past month. One of the first things is that, hope I don't lose my voice here, is that we appointed Beverly Rashid as our new community ambassador, and I'm looking forward to working with her and working with the city and the rest of our community. One of the other things we did is that we approved the conversion of the north tennis courts. There was 2 courts on the north side, and they've been used temporarily for about 2 or 3 years as pickleball. And we approved that. There's going to be 8 pickleball courts. It's going to be a real nice upscale complex. Should be completed by the end of this fall. The Community Awareness is having a presentation on August 31st, 1 to 3 here in the main ballroom. The main speaker on that particular date is Dr. Karen Singh, Chief Medical Officer from San Gorgonio Memorial Hospital. We also have Chief Hamner and Mike Romero from Securitas. So those events have been well attended, and we look forward to them continuing in the future. The board is also reviewing all major contracts. We're trying to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. So we're reviewing like community patrol contract right now. We'll also be reviewing artistic maintenance and other major contracts. what we're trying to do there is make sure we do not have excessive increases in our HOA assessments. And I think this is one way that we can do that. We can try and prevent that. And Randy will be talking in a minute about the upcoming town halls that we're going to be having for our budget, for the budget session. The listening sessions will be continuing on the first Monday of every month at 3:30 in the Sandwich. The board is also looking at, with the help of Lori and Beverly, we're looking at replacing and upgrading the carpeting here in the main ballroom and outside in the hallway. We're hoping that will get completed and approved in time for the holiday season. I think that it's well overdue. The water mandate, we left a copy on for everybody to review the water mandate. It's every water district has their own requirements, and that's why you'll see a difference like down in the desert. Coachella Valley Water District, you know, they don't have to turn their fountains off. We do. We're mandated to do so. So we're adjusting to that. So the HOA water mandates and the individual resident water mandates are listed on this form. And the form is available here at the front desk, here in the main ballroom, or in the main clubhouse. It's also available on the website. And then I'm going to turn it over to Randy, and he'll be talking a little bit about the upcoming budget town halls. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Bob covered pretty much all of what we've been doing. We are reaching a very exciting time at Sun Lakes, and it's called budget time. So the board and the Finance Advisory Committee has received the first draft of the budget that comes directly from the FSR team. That has been for us to evaluate. We will discuss everything on it. Our first public workshop is scheduled for Monday, September 12th at 4 p.m. It'll be in here in the main ballroom. Our second public workshop will be October 4th at 10 a.m. here in the main ballroom. And then on Thursday, October 6th, which is your October meeting here in the Delegate Assembly, we will be here along with staff for questions that the delegates may have regarding the budget, and that's just prior to we are currently scheduled to receive the final draft budget on October 12th, and then approval, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, later at the October open session. So that's what's happening with the budget. It's going to be a lot of work for the board members and staff, and trying to figure out the best way to keep our assessments down, but to keep everything where we want it to be. So that's our goal. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Bob?
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question regarding the water mandate. Will this be available in our packets that we send out to our district?
It could be, if you want it to be.
I think it would be very beneficial. There are still people out there that do have fountains running.
Yes.
So it would be
I
informative.
think we should include it if we're able to include it this month.
Thank you.
Bob, you have anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Joe.
I would like everyone to know that we are nationally one of the very, very few HOAs that have a delegate assembly and the board of directors attend and give reports and ask questions and what have you. And I'd like to comment and commend our board for being so active in our community and being part of our meeting. Thank you very much. Jason, administration.
Well, thank you, Joe. Bob and Randy pretty much covered the basis of everything. The one thing I would like to say is thank the delegates as well as the community as a whole for where we are at with the age verification. I know some of your lists may look long, but at total, when we look at it, we are right about 76%. So we are doing very well this time of the year. I remember a couple years back, at this point here, we were still in the like 40, 50%. So thank you to everyone who has turned in your forms, and we look forward to getting that extra 4% to reach our 80.
Thank you, Jason. And my
Jason.
comments, by the way, are extended to the administration, too. Thank you for you, and I know Chris is on vacation at the moment, but he attends every one of our meetings, and we really appreciate it.
Jason, is there a
David?
deadline on those forms?
I'm sorry?
Is there a deadline on those forms?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to tell you the real deadline because then people will wait.
Just get them in.
We have to reach 80% by the end of the year. So
Thank you.
technically, the deadline is December 31st, but we never want to wait that long. So if we can reach that, as soon as we reach that 80, we start turning everything in so that we comply. So.
Okay. Thank you.
ASAP.
One more. Peggy?
Yeah.
I have a question. I got this thing, does each person have to fill out a form?
That is
or-
correct. Each person that is living in the home.
Pardon?
Each person that is living in the home. So if you have 2 residents and a caregiver, you need 3 forms.
Okay. And we can get these forms?
Forms can be picked up at the flyer rack at the lobby or in the administration office.
Okay, thank you.
Or actually, it's online too. If you go on the website, the age verification form's on there. You can just download it right there as well.
If the caregiver resides in the home, the caregiver reports also. Is that true, Jason?
And as you guys are aware, with this year, the reason why they want you to do it every 2 years is, as a 55-plus community, we are entitled to a lot that other associations or homeowner associations are not. Biggest thing coming in form of being able to restrict those who live in here by age, and with our tax status, we being a 55-plus community does help out with that as well. So we want to make sure that we never lose that, because if we do ever lose our 55-plus status, we will not get it back. There are communities that have done that, and they have tried to get it back, and they just cannot get the number up there. Once you lose that, people can move in of any age, and then you lose that 80%, and you'll never get it. So it's very important that we turn these in and we reach that 80% every 2 years.
Okay. Any comments or any questions from the members of our HOA? Would you please come up to the microphone, state your name, and go ahead.
Ken Johnson, Birdie Drive. Joe, I'd like to see you help improve some of the communications of the district delegate by posting the minutes. I noticed it's not on the new website. I couldn't find any minutes from past meeting. It'd be nice to get the agenda ahead of time so that we can make a determination to be here or not. And it might be a nice idea to put the district delegate handbook out there when you get it finalized, and so people can learn what a district delegate does to help recruitment. Or if there's a question, it would be answered. My other one focuses on communication. From listening at the June meeting, I heard that we couldn't do electronic delivery of newsletters, that we had to have 100% with a distribution list. I'd like to kind of open up for you to maybe form a group to look at it. I remember as a kid, Dick Tracy would be talking on his watch, and today I can talk on my watch. And a lot of us now use electronic means. I would be willing to sign a form that says, I don't want things hand-delivered, I'd like electronic. And I know as you reach older age, you'd hardly do anything, with a computer down near the ends of your ears, but we ought to be able to do that type of communication. We could get more timely delivery of the newsletter, we could save costs, we could take social events and encourage participation. I heard that there was a problem with participation. We could send out reminders or do encouragement. We could do the age verification form follow-up. We could do key reminders like we have talked about on the refrigerator. And again, I just think we ought to have your organization look at how we can automate. I know the board of directors and administration has changed with having Facebook, email blasts, and other things that take advantage of telecommunication and technology. That's my suggestion. Hopefully maybe there's some follow-up on it. Thank you.
Joe, this is Randy over here, if I may. Ken, just to let you know, under the district delegate tab, it does have the agenda, it just shows the date. You are correct that the June minutes are not up there.
But the agenda was up there for August 4th.
I'm back up here again. I'd like to clarify something. My contact information for the agency with the phone number doesn't work very well just yet. It's a technical thing and we're going to be working on. It'll be much more accessible. So I'll work with the administration to make sure that I am accessible to you. I'll give you the contact information and the email. Rather than trying to do it here and mess it up, we'll do it that way. Secondly, again, in my position, I attend different meetings throughout the Pass area, and some of those are very enlightening. I know there's an issue with warehouses with us here, and I think it's important to note that the city of Beaumont in the last city council meeting kind of went on record to say that they would like to see a migration from building homes to building warehouses. They announced that they have applications right now for 30 million square feet of warehouses that are going to be added or are going to be evaluated, and with the migration of warehousing as kind of their focal point. So that's not in our community, but it's certainly in our sphere of influence. The issues with warehousing on that kind of a scale, I think, will come and reach us. So I bring that up to you as a benefit of going to some of those meetings. Do what you may.
Thank you, Kevin. Sandy?
Hello, I'm Sandy Richmond, and I wanted to update you a little bit about Welcome Home. I had told some people that we would be having it on August the 18th, but I'm having surgery on the 17th, so thought that probably wasn't a good idea. It will be the 25th, so mark that on your calendars. When we start calling, which is usually about 2 weeks before the event, we will call you if you have anybody in your district coming. If we don't call you, it means you don't have anyone and you don't come either. So anyway, you may come with your significant other or your spouse or an alternate, but not both. Let's see, are there any other questions? Anybody have a question? No?
We're good.
Oh, that was easy. Okay.
That was easy, Sandy.
Pardon me?
That was easy.
It was easy. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're wondering in the interest of being polite, I thought that our homeowners should be before us. It's our meeting. And therefore, Daniel, would you start? Do you have any comments? Please keep them down to a couple minutes, okay?
I have a pet peeve. Throwdowns in the driveway, which they're supposed to be in the driveway, but very seldom make it. Most of them are in the gutter. What is the rule or code for having advertisements thrown into your driveway or into your gutter? And any answers on that?
Hey, Denisla's coming up. She's going to take care of us.
Okay, well.
She's got broad shoulders.
We get papers also, the Gazette, the Sun Lakes, the Life, or whatever it is, but very seldom do they make it into the driveway. They're in the gutters. And it just irritates me because we live on Litchfield. It's sometimes called Litterfield, because if we have any breeze at all, these papers are in the middle of the street. Middle of the street, and I have to go pick them up.
Code enforcement will give you an answer. Go ahead.
So back again, I do not have a comforting answer to that. Distribution of materials is controlled by the distributor of those materials. If the magazine is winding up in areas other than where it's supposed to be, that should result in a phone call to the magazine contact, letting them know that their delivery persons are not delivering things well. Now that actually excludes me, so I'm going to pick on Jason and see if he knows the right contact to pass that along, because I doubt they're the only one having this problem.
I do not have that with me right now, but it would be the Record Gazette. Is it Record Gazette? No. Right. Yeah, the Record Gazette for Sun Lakes Life. Coupons, the coupon one shouldn't, unless it's probably come from the same distributor, it should all be coming from the same source. We don't allow people just to come in here and throw advertisement on your driveways. So it would be the newspaper that is distributing that. I don't have that number with me right here, but I can get it for you.
Well, we get a local ad package once a week.
Yeah, then that's from the newspaper as well.
And, well, I've got a suggestion. I think it makes a lot of sense if the people that have mailboxes in front of their houses usually have a little box set aside from that so that they can put these things into. Now, we that have the gang mailboxes, we don't have that. Why can't we have a box put alongside those gang boxes where they can put these ads and the Gazette and those things so that we can retrieve them ourselves when we get our mail? It would be a lot better than having them all over the streets.
That sounds like a perfect request to be put down on a piece of paper, sent to the office, and put in front of the board.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Bowles, District 22. I want to thank the board and the powers to be for getting our speed bump in front of the mailboxes at South Clubhouse in the parking there. And it looks great and it is effective. I live right on the speed bump and I see people actually slowing up, so it's working. Thank you very much.
Peggy Andrews, District 21. You're just doing such a good job. I'm just learning, so I don't really have any questions.
No questions for District 20.
Bonnie.
I'm the alternate in 19. I just have one question. Years ago, no one was allowed to let their yard go brown. They did when it was a bank-owned property, but we couldn't do anything about it. But now, because of the water restrictions, yards are looking horrible in Sun Lakes. So are there any rules about that, or what are we doing?
Yeah, so when the governor comes down with a mandate like that, when we're in a drought situation, our rules regarding front yards and rear yards and keeping them nice and green and pleasant to look at are no longer valid. Yeah. Same thing, we cannot force you to put in a tree. If you don't have a front yard tree, we cannot force you to plant anything that is going to take water. So we can't force you to replace any dead plants. The only thing that we can enforce is weeds. If the weeds go up, we can have you cut those. But if the grass is brown or dead, or if it's dirt, we can't do anything about it right now. And that is in place for a year as of right now. So that goes through next June 10th. Yeah, that's why when I was driving around the last couple of weeks, I think I saw in one day probably 10 to 15 homes that have turf being installed. So, yeah.
I can tell you that the Architectural Committee gets probably a dozen applications for artificial turf every 2 weeks, and with good reason. Go ahead.
Nita Cook, District 17. Well, I'm going to comment on that. When all of that grass has a life, you know, the artificial turf, it's all going to end up, it's a petroleum product and it's not recyclable. So it's going to end up in the landfill. But anyway, my question is this. On the north side, we have fountains. They've always been kind of an eyesore, and now that they don't have water in them, they are unbelievable. They're terrible. One thing, any water gets into them, they're going to be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And I was just wondering, since they're not good looking anyway, is there any way we could get them removed and then just plant shrubs instead?
Yeah, Nita, this is something that the board has definitely talked about. It's something that the board will be addressing in the coming future months here, like real soon. What they want to do is they want to start having town halls regarding, especially Gate 2. They've already actually sent it out to the Common Area Committee to start looking at and start coming up with ideas for it. So you will start to be seeing something on that real soon.
Go ahead.
Rennell English, District 16. Jason, I had already discussed with you the subject I was going to bring up, so you're aware of it. Okay, thank you.
I got one here. Joe, I just had one question for you. Are we going to be, you sent these out in the email after they sent them out, the bocce thing. Are you going to have these attached to our newsletters? It's the,
Okay, the
bocce.
bocce ball communication has been sent to every district, right? Now, we are asking the Board of Directors to determine whether the districts or the district assembly should be receiving flyers from everybody, because it affects the budget for your district. Because when you send a newsletter in, you have a certain budget, each district, okay? Therefore, when you get flyers and they're sent to me, I'm sending to everybody, and some of you are publishing them every year, every month. So when you do that, your budget goes up. I believe that any of the clubs, groups, advisory groups, whatever in our community should have approval of the Board of Directors to okay or to approve, so that they know exactly what is being spent, because they're in charge of the funds. So it is up to the board to discuss it, to come up with a program or a policy in regards to anything of that might.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
That is a flyer was put on by Dennis Field. He wants to get a lot of the people in the that play bocce, they're getting too old to play, or they're moving away, or they're not with us anymore. And so they're trying to build up membership because it's really popular. And it was a way of engaging new residents, people that move in. And so actually, Dennis called Bob Walter about it. And then Bob had him refer it to Joe, and we had kind of decided that it would be we're always looking for ways to encourage new residents to get involved, and we thought that was a good way to do it. So we were talking about getting it published, and it was kind of whether each delegate was going to make it part of their newsletter, or if it was going to come straight from the board. And I don't think it ever, we thought we had it resolved, and I guess we didn't.
Well, see, Nita, it is not really falls into our bailiwick to say that we can expend this much money to have this printed, regardless of who it might be. It could be an advisory committee, or it could be EPAC. They send us these pages of like the drill in the fall and so on. I believe that the responsibility in our community on expenses is the Board of Directors. And we're assuming that obligation when we turn around and send it to the printer and we say, print it. And we shouldn't be doing that. We're out of line. So I think the board has to have a policy for it. Randy?
Yeah, this just came up, Joe. This week, Bob and I met with Jim and Joe for lunch, and this just came up. So it is something we're going to address and figure out a process for it. Absolutely.
Okay. I think it's that important because more and more of the groups, clubs, and advisory groups are sending or putting together flyers or explanations or what have you. And I think there just has to be a control. Okay? Jeannie?
Yeah, thank you very much for addressing that, because that was one of my questions also last time. If we get a flyer from Bocce or from Community Awareness or whatever, I just had put it in my newsletter. And so the printer prints it. And it comes out of my district budget, okay. But if the board is already going to put it in the printer, then we're wasting paper two sides. So if the board, I appreciate the fact the board's looking into it, because all we need is an email when it gets sent to us. This will be included in your next newsletter. It is being sent to the printer. End of issue, and then we don't have to worry about it or make all these phone calls or call the printer and ask them what's going in each time or whatever. So thank you very much for
Yeah, that's what
looking
we're
into
going to
that.
figure, like I say, figure out a process, because I know when I was a delegate, I just usually made the extra copy. If any club asked us to do it, I would make a copy. I'd staple them to what I got back from Lithopass. So everybody was doing it differently, and so I think the process that came out of lunch the other day is we figure out a way that it does get to everybody, and not just one district's doing it one way, another district doing it another way. So we're going to figure out some sort of a process.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank you. I think it's a good idea. And as far as someone was talking about the newsletter and going more electronic, I think it's a great idea for those that have smartphones, whatever. I don't. I'm dumb like my phone. We have District 13, there's 64 houses. We're little, and I like it like that. But out of those 64, we have around 15 to 20 people that do not have computers or anything other than hand deliver in the cubby. So as much as I would like to be able to just email it to everybody, I can't do that. And so I appreciate all the electronics, and what I do is when we finish the newsletter and we email it to the printer, then within a few days, I also email it to everybody so they can make a copy extra of something, or if there's a form in there they want or whatever. So we're trying to do both.
So in District 8, and also I've had calls out of others, we have an issue with a lot of vehicles that get left overnight on a continuous basis. And I get these phone calls and I go and look at them, and typically they have a pass, and a few days later they have another pass, and a few days later they have another pass. And it's difficult to go back to people and say, hey, I know on my own block, we often have 8 to 10 a night that stay out. And it's not just my block is what I'm finding. It's all over the place. And I wonder exactly what we're doing to get a handle on it.
She's back.
Oh, go ahead.
So let me speak once more in my favorite language, that is hypothetical. Now, parking is a contentious issue in Sun Lakes, and that's about as subtle as saying that water is a little bit damp. The governing documents are very strict about what a resident can do for parking. It's very short and sweet, 6 overnights in a 60-day period. Guests, that is anyone who does not live in Sun Lakes, is limited to 60 overnights in a calendar year. And yet, we have these folks, hypothetically speaking, that accumulate much more than the 60 that is allotted to residents. There are exceptions to the rule, and some of these folks have that exception in their favor. For those that don't, my department does do a parking audit of passes, but it is not an instantaneous item. We do not have the means to automatically shut off a guest who has exceeded their 60 overnights. We often rely on neighbors reporting an issue or on Securitas reporting an issue. We used to have a dedicated staff member who did do audits on a weekly basis for those folks that were over the 60 overnights. Unfortunately, we do not have anyone in that position right now. So where we are, and by we, I mean me, because this is my department's purview, those folks that are reported to us as apparently exceeding exceeding what the governing documents grant them, we investigate the matter, we pull records. If they are in the wrong, they get no more overnights. If they are in the right, if they have that, one of those exceptions or one of those circumstances that permits above and beyond what most people get, then they continue getting passes as long as the circumstances grant them that. But one thing I cannot do is tell you folks, John Doe on whatever street. I can tell you if John Doe has exceeded their passes, if it's something that affects you directly. If it is not something that affects you directly, if it's not your immediate neighbor, then I can tell you we're looking into it. If things get to the point that disciplinary action is called for, once it gets to the board level, I can't tell you as a third party anything. It's now a private conversation between the association and the board. But what I can tell you is we know these streets are crowded. We know the vehicles are big. We know there are people who are more than willing to exploit every possible loophole they can get, legitimate or not. We are doing our best to counter them as you bring them to our attention, as we encounter them in our audit. But it is not an instant button solution. And I know that's not quite the answer you wanted to hear, but at least it's an honest one. I got that going for me, I hope. Does this answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Raylene, go ahead.
Raylene Kretschmann, District 7. We recently had an episode in our district where the home is vacant. There's, I think, a corporation maybe that owns it. We don't know who to call. They had a water leak. Fortunately, a gardener fixed it for us. But who would we call if there's an emergency like that, gas leak or water leak?
Unfortunately, we do not have the right to go on property and take care of certain things like that. It is difficult. What you can do, if you notice an issue, you can try calling the admin, call myself, even call the Tonasla's department, because we can look up to see who it is and try to get a hold of that party. Now, 9 out of 10 times, it'll be to no avail. But we may, on one circumstance, be able to reach them and be able to take care of it. And if there are other issues, then at that time we can address those with that person as well. But we do have a lot of corporations that own these homes and are sitting on them for whatever reason it may be. And some of them are not in this country and are very hard to get a hold of. So we do try, but if you let us know, we can try to search and see who we can find.
Okay, we took care of it because it was a really bad water leak, so.
And
I know we weren't supposed to.
Thank you to the gardener for taking care of
Yeah.
it.
You as a homeowner are a little, it's a little better for you to go into it than it is the association.
That's what we thought.
Okay, Dolores?
I'm glad Jim brought up the subject that we have an issue within our district, so I don't need to say anything more because I know Antonisla is taking care of it. Thank you.
Jim?
Thank you. I'm just listening. I've learned a lot from everybody here. So being a new delegate, I appreciate all the insight and the information. Thank you.
Loretta?
Don't have any comment.
Barb?
District 1 has no comment.
Okay. I have one comment. In my article in the this current month, there is a line that I think is a little bit incorrect, and it has to do with the pool. And can I just find it here? If I had the right page, I would be better. Okay. It says, and I will quote, "Even with the concessions, new requests are made for more extensions." And this has to do with the swimming pool and any one of the grandchildren, the younger set, if you want. I say, it appears the Board of Directors is well aware of the attitude of the majority of residents in our community and will no longer honor any requests. That is not true of this Board of Directors. That was true of the last 2 or 3 boards of directors. But this Board of Directors is a very open board. They will consider and discuss any topic that any homeowner would like to bring forward to them. And I want everybody to know that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe, for clarifying that, because I wanted to, address any concern that you or the delegates had at any time. Thank you.
Okay, and we heard from our HOA members. Jason?
Joe, I do just have one thing. It goes back to the question with the Record Gazette and delivering. I do have a phone number for them. If you guys would like to take this down, you can please call them and let them know your concerns. The number is 951-849-4586. Again, 951-849-4586.
With that, I'll see you at the ice cream social, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.